Imagine you're sitting with a friend in a coffee shop in Austin, Texas. You're drinking a caramel latte with oat milk, and you're just talking about how cool it would be to take a weekend trip to Seattle, visit coffee shops, try salmon at Pike Place Market, see the city at night from the Space Needle. You didn't Google anything, check airline websites, or even mention it in your messenger. But then you finish your coffee, leave the cafe, open Facebook, and there's an ad for flights to Seattle on the exact dates you just talked about. And this isn't a mass promotion like summer discounts to Los Angeles or Miami, it's a direct hit. At moments like this, many Americans sincerely think, my phone is listening to me. And while it sounds like a plot from the movie Enemy of the State, in most cases Meta, Facebook, Instagram, isn't listening to your conversations 24/7. Instead, it builds an incredibly detailed portrait of you and your habits using data from dozens of sources. 1. Your digital footprint. You lingered on a video review of Seattle coffee shops on TikTok a little longer than usual, the algorithm noticed. You liked a friend's photo on Instagram with Mount Rainier in the background, another signal. Even quickly scrolling through ads on Google or Yahoo can be recorded as mild interest. 2. Data sharing between apps. This is very active in the US. Imagine you have the Alaska Airlines or Southwest Airlines app installed, which you use once a year. But this week, you've visited it twice to check prices. Meta doesn't see what you were looking for, but it knows the app was active. That's already a reason to assume you're planning a trip. 3. Friends' behavior. Algorithms also take your friends into account. You are sitting with a friend in a bar in Austin, discussing a trip, both connected to the same Wi-Fi. After the meeting, your friend searches Google for Best Coffee Shop Seattle or likes a photo from Pike Place Market. Facebook combines these events and decides that you are likely planning a trip together. 4. Confirmation triggers. As soon as someone in your circle watches 48 Hours in Seattle on YouTube or views reels with a panorama of the Space Needle, the algorithm gets the green light and launches ticket ads for all of you at once. And all this without eavesdropping. You and your friend simply leave digital crumbs, from which the system assembles a puzzle. Imagine a detective who didn't see you buy tickets, but knows that you looked at a map of the New York subway, Googled the weather in July, and liked a video of the Brooklyn Bridge. The puzzle assembles itself. Now for another story. In the US, from childhood you hear, avoid debt, especially if you are from a middle-class family or a poor neighborhood. Teachers, parents, even talk shows like the Dave Ramsey Show say, credit cards are a trap, mortgages are evil, only buy what you can pay for in cash. But when you start working in a big city, such as New York or San Francisco, you see how wealthy Americans behave. They calmly take out a $1.5 million mortgage for 30 years, use credit lines to grow their businesses, and even open new credit cards for bonus miles. Why is that? Because for wealthy people, loans are a tool for preserving and growing capital. For example, you have $200,000 in S&P 500 index funds with an average return of 7% per year. You want to buy a Tesla for $50,000. If a car loan costs you 4% per annum, it is more profitable to leave your investments working and take out a loan for the car. You earn the difference in interest. And if you don't have any investments and you just borrow the same $50,000, your money isn't working, you're just giving the bank more than you borrowed. Hence the advice, debt without assets is a burden, debt with assets is financial leverage. That's why rich people in the US often live with debt, but their wealth continues to grow. And finally, VPNs and website blocking. Imagine you're in Los Angeles, turning on your VPN to watch British Netflix or avoid ads. Suddenly, Amazon, your bank, or even an online sports equipment store won't let you log in. Why? Streaming services like Hulu or Disney Plus block VPNs to maintain regional restrictions. Banks in the US do this to prevent account fraud. And some website owners simply know that most VPN traffic is spam or bots. A friend of mine in Oregon runs a small tech website. He blocked all comments from users with VPNs because 97% of them were automatically generated spam. Some hosting providers in the US even offer the option to cut off VPN traffic as a standard protection against DDoS attacks. So when a website pretends that you entered the wrong password, it's often just masking the fact that it's blocking VPNs so as not to annoy users with a direct message. Conclusion: algorithms work because you leave traces. Credit can be a weapon or a trap depending on your financial situation, and VPN is a useful tool that at the same time closes the door to many American websites. Okay, a little context. I have several reasons for using a VPN in the US. First, I don't like being tracked, not by Google, not by ad networks, not even by my internet provider in California. Second, I like to watch content that's not available in the US, such as British Netflix or Canadian NHL sports broadcasts. And, of course, I block trackers, third-party cookies, and ads with browser extensions. And here's the strange thing: some sites let me in with these settings without any problems, even if I block everything. But as soon as I turn on the VPN, certain sites simply won't let me in. And this even applies to sites where I've had an account for years. Why is that? 1. Geo-restricted content. Streaming platforms such as Hulu, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, or even sports services like ESPN Plus are tied to licenses for specific regions. If you connect via a VPN from another country, they think you are trying to circumvent licensing restrictions. And they block you. 2. Legal reasons. Europe has GDPR, a law on personal data protection that requires special settings for processing user information. Some American sites simply refuse to allow visitors from certain IP addresses in order to avoid additional legal obligations. 3. Protection from attacks. DDoS attacks on large and small resources are popular in the US. One method of protection is to allow access only from clean IP addresses. VPNs use shared servers where hundreds or thousands of people can have the same IP address. This is convenient for privacy, but looks suspicious to security systems. 4. Business logic and real-world website experience. I know a gadget review website owner from Portland, Oregon. He analyzed 10,000 comments left by users with VPNs and found that only 3% of them were genuine, while the rest were automatically generated spam or copied texts from other resources. As a result, he blocked all traffic from VPNs so as not to waste resources on moderation. Sometimes websites don't even say directly that it's because of VPN. For example, your online bank may display an incorrect password message, when in fact it is simply blocking connections from suspicious addresses. This is done so as not to burn the security system in front of potential hackers. Now let's talk about something else: speed and the theory of relativity. If your NASA spaceship is flying at 99.9% of the speed of light and you start walking forward in the cabin, why aren't you moving faster than light? Inside the ship, it seems to you that you are walking normally, like on an Amtrak train, just moving forward. You don't feel the speed of the ship while you are inside. But for an outside observer who sees both your ship and you inside it, the picture is different. At normal speeds, we simply add, the train is traveling at 60 miles per hour, you are walking at 3 miles per hour. So together that's 63 miles per hour. But at speeds close to the speed of light, the formulas are not so simple. Einstein's special theory of relativity comes into play, changing the way speeds are added together. Next, a little history. After World War II, Germany did not wake up and immediately become a nice democratic country. In the US, they like to talk about the denazification program implemented by the Allies, the Americans, British, and French. People were taken on excursions to concentration camps so that they could see the horrors with their own eyes. Many former Nazis were stripped of their positions, but quite a few of them simply went into hiding. There is even an American joke among historians. Who was a Nazi in Germany? Whose grandfather was one? The point is that many Germans were members of the party, but after the war they did not want to admit it. And finally, physiology and sports. Why does a marathon runner feel nauseous after the finish? In America, this is sometimes called runner's gut. There are several reasons: dehydration, sodium loss, decreased blood flow to the stomach. And also, the accumulation of ketones when the body starts burning fat instead of glucose. An excess of ketones increases the acidity in the body, and one of the quickest ways to reduce this acidity is, yes, vomiting. In professional sports in the US, coaches give runners electrolyte drinks and advise them to stay hydrated to avoid this effect. And finally, about technology. Why are video cards getting faster? In the US, tech enthusiasts often mention Moore's Law and the fact that we have been reducing the size of transistors. But now we have almost reached the physical limits, the scales are already close to atomic. Companies like Intel and Nvidia have started using three-dimensional chip layouts and new packaging methods to squeeze more transistors into the same area. But performance gains are slowing down. And when Nvidia says that a new card is twice as fast, it's often a marketing ploy. They compare different operating modes or count frames that are rendered by AI, not real graphics. Why bombers do not fall into the zone of their own nuclear explosion. Imagine, a huge B-52 Stratofortress strategic bomber is flying over the ocean. It has just dropped a nuclear bomb. Why does it not find itself at the epicenter of the explosion? First, speed and altitude. Such aircraft fly very fast and very high. After dropping the bomb, they make a sharp turn or change altitude to get away from the point of detonation as quickly as possible. Even as it falls, the bomb continues to move forward due to inertia, which gives the pilots extra time. Second, special maneuvers. For example, the US and NATO used what is known as toss bombing, sometimes called a lapse maneuver, in Russia. The aircraft flies up to the target, begins to climb sharply, and drops the bomb at an upward angle, as if tossing it. This gives a few extra seconds to get away before it explodes. A real-life story: when the Americans tested the largest nuclear charges in the Operation Dominic series, the pilots joked that they were literally playing hot potato with the bomb, only the potato weighed several tons and had the power to wipe out a city. Ear cleaning, is it necessary at all? Many Americans have a habit of using cotton swabs, Q-tips, every day. In commercials in the 1960s, they were even shown as the perfect way to keep your ears clean. However, modern doctors in the US, especially otolaryngologists, are sounding the alarm. It is not only unnecessary, but often harmful. Earwax is a natural protection. It removes dust and dirt, moisturizes the skin of the ear canal, and even has antibacterial properties. Normally, it gradually comes out on its own, and you just need to wash your ears in the shower. There are cases when cleaning is necessary, if there is a wax plug, inflammation, or a doctor has prescribed rinsing. But daily use of cotton swabs in the US is one of the main causes of scratches, irritation, and even perforations of the eardrum. Some American clinics are now promoting gentle methods, such as hydrogen peroxide drops or special irrigators, but even these are recommended for infrequent use. Why even expensive cars often have glitchy screens? You buy a brand new Cadillac Escalade or Tesla Model X for $100,000 plus and expect all the systems to work perfectly. But suddenly the central screen freezes, the navigation reboots, and Bluetooth doesn't connect on the first try. Why is that? One reason is that automotive electronics are designed for harsh conditions. They have to withstand -30 degrees Fahrenheit in Minnesota in winter and plus 120 degrees Fahrenheit in Arizona in summer, operating without active cooling and powered by a 12-volt system. Another reason is software. Unlike smartphones or tablets, which can be updated frequently and quickly, automotive systems undergo long testing and certification cycles. As a result, you get hardware and software designed several years ago. And even at Tesla, where updates come over the air, OTA, there are many complaints that new versions sometimes break features that worked before. Space mirror and time travel. Imagine that NASA installed a huge mirror somewhere a few light years away from Earth and pointed a telescope at it. If it had been there for a long time, we would see a reflection of Earth as it was in the past, as many years ago as it took for light to travel to the mirror and back. For example, if the mirror is 1 light-year away, you would see Earth as it was a year ago. If it is 10 light-years away, you would see a picture from 10 years ago. This is not science fiction, but a consequence of the fact that light has a finite speed. How tonometers work. In the US, most people use automatic tonometers at home, especially older people. But it is interesting that the old cuffs with manual pumping and a stethoscope, which are still used in hospitals, work a little differently than modern digital ones. The classic method, the cuff is inflated until blood flow in the artery of the arm stops completely. Then the air is slowly released, and when the blood begins to flow during the heartbeat, this is the upper, systolic, pressure. When the blood flows continuously and the noise disappears, this is the lower, diastolic, pressure. Automatic models, which are available in American pharmacies, determine blood pressure based on fluctuations in the cuff caused by the pulse and calculate the figures using mathematical formulas. They are convenient, but sometimes less accurate than the manual method, especially if you move or talk during the measurement. Why does hot water freeze faster than cold water in the cold? Imagine, it's winter in Minneapolis, and it's -10 degrees Fahrenheit outside. You go out into the yard with a glass of hot water and pour it up into the air. The drops turn into snow dust almost instantly, as if by magic. Why is that? The reason is that hot water evaporates faster. When it scatters into small droplets, part of the volume instantly disappears in the form of steam, and the remaining droplets become smaller. And the smaller the droplet, the faster it gives off heat and freezes. Therefore, hot water broken into microdroplets can freeze in the air in seconds, especially if the air is dry and frosty. In the US, this has even become a winter challenge. On YouTube, people shoot videos of how they turn boiling water into snow. How people lived without toothbrushes. Dogs, lions, bears, none of them brush their teeth, but they live for years. And our ancestors lived for thousands of years without Colgate toothpaste and Oral-B electric toothbrushes. How did they manage? The truth is that in ancient times, people had significantly fewer problems with tooth decay than modern Americans, mainly due to the absence of refined sugar and acidic drinks such as soda or energy drinks in their diet. However, there were still problems: teeth broke, fell out, and hurt. Archaeologists have found evidence that 1.2 million years ago, members of the Homo genus cleaned their teeth with whatever they had on hand. They chewed on plant twigs with antibacterial properties. In Africa, people still use chewing sticks, thin twigs that are chewed until one end becomes fibrous, and this brush is used to clean teeth. In North America, Native Americans used the roots of certain herbs to remove plaque and freshen their breath. The first prototypes of modern toothbrushes appeared around 3500 BC in ancient Egypt. In the modern US, dentists remind us that regular brushing is one of the main reasons why average life expectancy has increased. But even they admit that nature has given us a pretty good autopilot for dental care. We've just ruined it with our diet. The freezer and flies. Situation: you went on a 2-week vacation to Florida, and at home in Chicago you turned off the lights. The refrigerator and freezer stopped working. You return, and in the freezer, which seems airtight, you find fly larvae. How is this possible? If the food was industrially frozen, in the US, this is called flash freezing, the chances of fly eggs surviving are almost zero. But if you put fresh fish or meat from the farmer's market inside, where they came into contact with flies, the eggs could already be on the surface. When the freezer shut down and the temperature rose, the food began to spoil, releasing gases. These gases seep through the door seals or openings, for example, in the ice maker, and flies with their incredible sense of smell can detect the source. They then lay eggs directly on the seals or in the cracks, and the smell inside attracts the larvae to penetrate deeper. There are known cases when flies got into the freezer through the ice maker system, which has a less airtight valve. In the US, it is even recommended to either empty the freezer or leave only hermetically sealed products in it during long trips. Conclusion: some phenomena, such as the rapid freezing of hot water, can be explained by simple physics. Others, such as the preservation of teeth in ancient times or the appearance of flies in the freezer, are a combination of biology, history, and everyday logic. And all of this, even when adapted to the American experience, remains an interesting reminder: we live in an amazing world where science and everyday life are constantly intertwined. The freezer and unexpected neighbors. Imagine, you went on vacation to Hawaii for 2 weeks. Sun, beach, surfing. You return to your home in Seattle, and in the freezer, which was packed with food, you find fly larvae. It would seem that the door is airtight and the temperature should kill any life. But there they are, crawling around. How did this happen? In the US, most foods sold in supermarkets undergo what is known as flash freezing. This rapidly cools the product to -40 degrees Fahrenheit and virtually guarantees the death of any fly eggs. But if you froze the food yourself, for example, barbecue leftovers or meat bought at a farmer's market, there could have been eggs on it from the moment of purchase. As soon as the power went out, the temperature in the freezer began to rise. The food began to decompose, releasing gases that slowly seeped through the door seals or the ice maker system. Flies living in your area can smell decay from dozens of yards away. Then it's simple: the fly lays eggs on the seal, and the larvae, guided by the smell, penetrate inside. They were not born inside the frozen food, but got there after the temperature rose above zero. Why is this interesting? American Pest Control Services say that most such cases occur in the summer or during long power outages after storms or hurricanes. In Florida, after Hurricane Ian in 2022, there were numerous complaints from people who, upon returning home, found a veritable zoo in their refrigerators and freezers. One specialist from New Jersey shared a story about how, during a heat wave, a client left a freezer in the garage with the door half open. A week later, there were more than 100 larvae inside, although the food itself had long since turned to liquid. Tips for American households. If you are going away for more than a week, empty the freezer or leave only vacuum-packed food inside. Turn it off and open the door to avoid odors and gas pressure inside. If you have an ice maker, turn off the water supply and make sure the valves are tightly closed. For extra protection, you can place sticky fly traps in the room with the freezer. Final words. From the instant freezing of hot water in the Minnesota air to the mysterious appearance of flies in a Seattle freezer, science is always with us, even in everyday life. When we begin to understand how and why these phenomena occur, they cease to be magic and become little lessons in physics, biology, and common sense.